Why is it that when someone disappears from your life without explanation, your first instinct is to chase them down with desperate messages? And why does that chase always end with you feeling worse about yourself than when it started? You've been there. The conversation was flowing, the connection felt real, and then suddenly, silence. She's ghosted you, and your mind is spiraling. But here's what I'm going to share with you today that will completely change how you handle this situation. There are 3 critical things you need to understand, and the third one is going to blow your mind, but you can't skip ahead because the first 2 set up something much bigger. Your fingers hover over your phone, crafting message after message. Hey, just checking in. Delete. Did I do something wrong? Delete. Each draft more desperate than the last. But what if I told you that your reaction to being ghosted reveals something about you that's way more important than why she disappeared? Here's the first thing you need to understand. Most people think ghosting is about rejection, but it's actually about revelation. When someone ghosts you, they're not just disappearing from your life. They're revealing who they really are. And more importantly, they're revealing who you are in response to uncertainty. Think about it. When someone ghosts you, what's the story you tell yourself? I wasn't good enough. I said the wrong thing. I'm too boring, too needy, too much, or not enough. You create an entire narrative where you are the villain in your own story. But this automatic response tells us something crucial about what's really happening here. The panic you feel, that crushing need to fix things immediately, that voice telling you that you must have done something terrible. That's not about her disappearing. That's about you disappearing from your own life long before she ever did. And this connects to something much deeper that I'll explain in a moment. But first, let me tell you about the biggest mistake people make when they get ghosted. They think the solution is to win her back, to prove their worth, to show her what she's missing. So they send paragraph-long texts explaining themselves. They post cryptic social media updates hoping she'll see them. They become detectives investigating their own supposed failures. Every time you chase someone who's walking away from you, you're not showing love or dedication. You're showing fear. Fear of being alone with yourself. Fear of facing the possibility that maybe you don't actually know who you are when nobody else is validating your existence. But there's something even more dangerous happening here that connects to the second thing you need to understand. Here's the second crucial point. Your response to being ghosted is actually training your brain for future relationships. Every time you chase someone who walks away, you're programming yourself to believe that your worth depends on other people's approval. You're creating a pattern that will sabotage every relationship you have going forward. Most people don't realize this, but how you handle being ghosted determines whether you'll attract healthy relationships or keep repeating the same painful cycles. When you chase someone who ghosts you, you're essentially telling the universe that you're available for people who don't respect you. You're advertising yourself as someone who will tolerate poor treatment. But here's where it gets interesting. There's actually a specific response to ghosting that completely flips this dynamic. It's something you can say that not only preserves your dignity, but actually makes you more attractive to the right kind of person. But this response only works if you understand the psychology behind why it's so powerful. When someone ghosts you, they're actually doing something that reveals their character immediately. They're showing you that they're not capable of basic communication. They're demonstrating that when things get uncomfortable, they run away. They're proving that they don't have the emotional maturity to handle adult relationships. Now, most people respond to this revelation by trying to prove they're worth communicating with. They make themselves smaller, more agreeable, more available. They abandon themselves in the hopes that someone else will come back and validate their existence. But what if you did the opposite? What if instead of chasing someone who's walking away, you thanked them for showing you exactly who they are? Not sarcastically, not passive-aggressively, but genuinely. Because here's what most people miss about ghosting situations. This brings us to the third and most important point, the response that changes everything. But to understand why it works, you need to grasp something fundamental about human psychology that most people never figure out. When someone ghosts you, they expect one of 2 responses. Either you'll chase them desperately, which confirms their belief that they have power over you, or you'll get angry and lash out, which allows them to justify their poor behavior by painting you as unstable. Both of these responses give them what they want: drama, attention, or validation of their decision to ghost you. But there's a third response that completely disrupts their expectations and shifts all the power back to you. Here's what you say after she ghosts you. Not to her, but to yourself first. Thank you for showing me exactly where I stand with you. That's it. No long explanations, no desperate pleas, no anger or resentment, just a simple acknowledgement of reality. But here's why this is so powerful and why it only works if you truly mean it. When you thank someone for showing you where you stand, you're doing something that most people never learn to do. You're taking back your power to define your own worth. You're refusing to make their behavior be about your inadequacy. You're refusing to chase someone who doesn't want to be caught. But most importantly, you're creating space for something better to enter your life. And this is where the real magic happens. When you respond to ghosting with genuine gratitude instead of desperation, you're sending a signal to the universe that you know your worth. You're demonstrating that you don't need someone else's validation to feel complete. This response works because it's completely unexpected. People who ghost others are used to getting emotional reactions. They're prepared for anger, sadness, or desperation. They're not prepared for someone who genuinely thanks them for clarifying the situation. But here's the deeper truth behind those words. When you say, "Thank you for showing me exactly where I stand with you," you're not just acknowledging their behavior. You're acknowledging your own worth. You're saying that you don't need someone to explain themselves to you in order for you to know your own value. Think about the people in your life who truly value you. Do they ghost you? Do they leave you guessing about where you stand? Of course not. The people who value you show up consistently. They communicate clearly. They don't leave you hanging in uncertainty. So when someone ghosts you, they're actually saving you months or years of confusion, mixed signals, and emotional exhaustion. But you only receive that gift if you're willing to accept it instead of fighting against it. Here's what happens when you truly internalize this message. When someone ghosts you, instead of spiraling into self-doubt, you feel grateful. Grateful that they revealed their character early. Grateful that they saved you time. Grateful that they created space for someone better to enter your life. You stop taking other people's behavior personally because you understand that how people treat you says everything about them and nothing about you. You stop chasing people who are walking away because you're too busy walking toward your own goals, your own growth, your own happiness. You become someone who doesn't need external validation to know their worth. You become someone who can sit with silence without filling it with desperation. You become someone who understands that the right person will never make you feel like you have to earn their attention. So the next time someone ghosts you, remember this. Don't send that desperate text. Don't craft that perfect explanation. Don't chase someone who is showing you exactly who they are. Instead, say thank you. Thank you for showing me where I stand. Thank you for making space for someone better. Thank you for teaching me to value myself enough to walk away from people who don't value me. And then turn around and walk toward the life you deserve. Because the person meant for you will never leave you guessing where you stand. They'll show up, they'll communicate, and they'll choose you every single day. That's the person worth waiting for. That's the relationship worth having. And that's the life you create when you stop chasing people who are walking away and start walking toward yourself.